Philadelphia has it.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Phaithful Phanatics Show live here on DSM Media's YouTube and Twitter channels. Guys, first and foremost, if you are new to the channel, make sure to check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. Hit that follow button. We greatly appreciate it. And while you're over on the Twitter page, make sure to check out the link tree in our bio. It will take you to every social media platform we are available on: Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. But if you guys want to be interactive throughout today's show or any of our shows here on DSM Media, if you want to catch any of the DSM pregame lives, they stream exclusively on the YouTube channel. So make sure to check out the link to the YouTube channel specifically. Hit that subscribe button, like this show, and comment along with us, just as D-Rab is doing here in the comments. I am one half of your host, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. To my right, my faithful co-host, Scotty. You can find him on Twitter as well at ScottyDrowned. Wow. The Philadelphia 76ers are headed back to Boston with a tied series 2-2 on the back of Uno, on the back of James Harden, also on the back of Joel Embiid. We're going to talk about it all. But my man, what is going on with you on this Monday morning? How are you feeling after a 116-115 overtime victory at the Wells Fargo Center on Sunday afternoon?
I'm feeling really good. I got my confidence back with the Sixers, and I think they answered the call again. Right, we asked for them to answer that call in Game 1 with the backs against the wall, no Embiid, and they had to do the same thing here in Game 4. Obviously, you have Embiid this time, but backs against the wall, you're down 2-1, about to head back to Boston, and you're able to come away with a victory. In a game where, yeah, they did lead most of the way, right? So they kind of put their foot forward, and they were able to strike first, which is what we ultimately asked for them in that Sixers pregame yesterday. So them to come out, kind of punch the Celtics first, take the lead, at some point lead by 16. That was a good sign. That was a good show of confidence for me, because they played from behind this entire series.
Yep.
And that was the one switch in this game that I think you could see the difference, was that when the Sixers go ahead and impose their will, they can go up on the Celtics. They can control the game as well. Obviously, the Celtics came storming back. Don't want to have that happen. You don't want to give up a lead like that.
Right.
It would be an all-time meltdown. But nonetheless, they come out with the victory, so you can't complain, man.
No, we're going to talk about their comeback in the fourth quarter, because I believe, if my memory serves correct, the Sixers had led the entire game from the point of 19-17 up until Boston took that lead very late into the fourth quarter. Obviously, the Sixers had a 16-point lead at one time in the first half. They had a 14-point lead towards the end of the third quarter. They did not do a very good job of closing out the final minute of the second and third quarters, and that's one thing we're going to discuss as well. But I will say that collapse that came late in the game had nothing to do with defense. I thought the Sixers defensively were great all afternoon. That was offensively. I mean, my God, they had 6 points up until like the 3-minute mark of that quarter. So they finished with 15. We're gonna get into that, man. But I have to start here, right? Like D-Rab's saying, you led most of the game, but you wouldn't know it by how it ended. And the beautiful thing about being desperate is it doesn't matter how it ended. It doesn't matter if the Sixers should have won by 9, 10, 11, 12. The fact of the matter is they won by 1 in overtime on the back of James Harden, on the back of Marcus Smart not getting the ball off his fingertips in 0.2 seconds. So we could have been going home heartbroken. Here is where my head is at, Scotty. I asked you to give me till 6 p.m. And I asked this team to continue to show us why they are different. And they did just that. And here is why. We love to use the phrase, a team doesn't win that in the past. This Sixers team doesn't win that game last year. They're different. They don't. We said it all year long. You could point to multiple occasions throughout the season. But this one has never been more true. This moment, the final minute and a half of the fourth quarter, overtime, James Harden clutch bucket at the end of the fourth quarter with 15 seconds left to tie it to force overtime. James Harden with the corner three. Joel Embiid making the right pass out of the double team. Could he have gone up strong, tried to look for contact? Absolutely. You're not trusting the referees in that moment. We'll get into them as well, I promise you. But he kicks it out to James. Oh, man. They don't win this game last year. They don't win this game in the Joel Embiid era. They are different. When you blow that lead at home the way they did, season on the line, I texted you, man. Yeah. I was so deflated. I was so angry at that meltdown. I thought the season had ended. It was over. And when Malcolm Brogdon hits that open three from the wing to put them up by 5, I said, good night. That's it. And what happens? The moment that changes things, Tobias Harris airballs a pull-up jumper right into PJ Tucker's hands, finishes through contact and one. And what does PJ Tucker do? Goes immediately over to the big fella, grabs him, gets in his ear, gets in his face, and tells him, yo, wake up, because we need you to take us home right now. Like, this season, your legacy is on the line. Our season is on the line right now. And they come back and they tie that game up, and James Harden takes over and blah, blah, blah. They don't win that game before, Scotty. They just simply don't. And that's why this team continues to show you how they are different than before.
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head there, man. This team, they showed resilience in this game, because this is a Boston Celtics team that went to the NBA Finals last year, that took the Warriors to, 6-7 games in the NBA Finals. They took the entire Eastern Conference. They've been here before, and you were able to take this game from them. Ultimately, they came storming back. They go up 5 with 2 minutes to go, and the Sixers find a way. And I think that's the difference that you're talking about, is like 2 minutes to go, you're down 5 against the Boston Celtics. It feels like the game's over. Like, feels insurmountable, because they're hitting everything. Malcolm Brogdon was 5 for 8 from the 3-point line. Marcus Smart was 4 for 10 from the 3-point line. Like, they were hitting everything. And you were able to get the stops. You were able to hit the big shots to ultimately get you to overtime, and then ultimately win you the game. The other side of that, man, what ultimately gives me confidence in this series as we get down to the nitty-gritty, because it's about to become a 3-game series with the Boston Celtics at this point, 2 in Boston, 1 in Philly. The 2 times that we've been able to keep this game close or be in it till the end, the Sixers have won these games. So you look at the Boston Celtics. I talked about it after game 1 in crunch time. When you keep it close and you have the pressure on them, you have their backs against the wall, they seem to choke in those big moments, and they did it once again yesterday. Marcus Smart had a chance to win it at the end of regulation, missed the 3. Then you get to the end of overtime, he can't get the shot off. So it's very crazy how that played out ultimately. Him getting the shot off in regulation, it didn't hit, then going to overtime, not getting the shot off, but he did make it. And that just kind of speaks to maybe their luck and their will in the clutch moments of the game. Once again, another thing with the Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown, man. I don't know what it is. 4th quarter overtime, he just disappears. I don't know if that's I don't know what it is.
I forget that, man. He scored 12 points in the first 4 minutes of the game.
12 points in the first 4 minutes, man. So.
Like, he didn't just disappear in the 4th quarter and overtime. Right? He disappeared after that. And I remember coming out in the second half, because it does annoy me. Listen, man, Jaylen Brown is Jaylen Brown is a great player. Okay. I'm ready to have that conversation. Right. But
might be the best player on their team.
It's very frustrating, because I still don't view him as that guy, right? And he wants to come out and shoot like freaking Superman in the first few minutes of this game. I'm like, you have to be joking me with some of these contested threes and finishes through contact.
I feel like in this series, he's kind of showing that he is better than Jason Tatum. Like, he is more consistent. He's more aggressive when he is aggressive. I don't even know how to word that, because he wasn't aggressive in the second half.
Right.
But he also guards James Harden. And I know James Harden had a game yesterday. He had 42 points. But at the end of the day, he started guarding him in games 2 and 3. He was really having him struggle.
Right. That was their adjustment after game 1. And
the offensive defense.
I do want to go back to your Marcus Smart point, though. Yeah. Like, and obviously Chile's bringing up Joe Mazzulla here. You mentioned the close games. Game 1, obviously, at the end of it, their last possession. And then now it's like, what is the deal with you guys getting the ball to Marcus Smart?
That's their shot taker in the
Marcus Smart getting the inbound pass, down 2 at the end of game 1, turns the ball over, right? Marcus Smart takes the last shot of regulation. Marcus Smart takes the last shot of overtime after Jason Tatum had a smaller Tyrese Maxey on him inside the lane. Got every call in the world that Tatum could have wanted today. I don't know why he didn't just try to go up, right?
Yeah.
Why are you going to Marcus Smart in that situation?
It's funny you bring up Tatum in the post, and you're like, why doesn't he just go up? And he's another guy that in the moment, it's almost like
It's weird,
doesn't he
man.
want he does want the moment sometimes because he hit the step back 3 on Maxey the
Oh
possession
yeah,
before that.
right.
But
Step back 3. And listen, man.
yeah,
I
the step
told
back
you.
3.
We talked about it since day 1, since game 1 of this series. Watch the off arm. And it never gets called. And I tweeted in game 1 that he does it more than Giannis does. And we know how much Giannis uses his size and his shoulders and his arms to create space for himself. And it never gets called. Tatum does it even more blatantly, and it does not get called. And you know what? I am so proud of our head coach. I'm so proud of Doc Rivers. Take that fine because you know it's coming. You can't criticize these guys. You just can't do it for whatever reason. No one holds them accountable. Take the fine, Doc. I love it. Ignite that fire. Put everybody on notice because that was so blatantly disgusting that was not called an offensive foul in that situation. And I agree with Doc 110%. You and I go back to the Eagles, how they lost the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
I am all for refs letting guys play. I don't want to see that called in them. But to Doc's point, that almost won them the game by you not blowing the whistle on something that blatant. And then it's the timing of it. It's 20 seconds after you didn't overturn a charge on Joel Embiid when he's moving sideways trying to avoid Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart's still moving his lower half. And you give him the call, which should have been a go-ahead and one for Joel Embiid and the Sixers in the final minute. It's disgusting, man.
Don't call anything, right? Like, I feel you. It's the fact of the inconsistency within the refereeing and
right because they called so many touch fouls late in the dude. Boston. Here's the other part that annoys me, Scotty. Okay, it ain't. Well, you remember how I brought up how the Sixers defense was phenomenal? Let's get into that, okay? Because when the Boston Celtics won this fourth quarter by 9 to force overtime, guess what? Or by 7, it wasn't because the Sixers defense crumbled or they were on fire. Boston was 6 of 16 from the floor. That is the same field goal percentage the Sixers were, 6 of 16 from the floor in the fourth quarter. You know what the difference was? The Boston Celtics got 3 whistles 35 seconds into the quarter, and they were in the bonus with 8.5 minutes left. That is utterly disgusting. Do not look me in my face and tell me that the Sixers all of a sudden started fouling 2 minutes into this fourth quarter, and Boston didn't pick up a foul until the 7-minute mark. That is ridiculous, man. And you know what? It still wasn't enough. If I sound fired up, it's because I am. You cannot allow this to keep happening. It impacts the game in crucial moments too often, and they're never held accountable. Umpires, NFL referees, NBA referees are never held accountable, man. It's disgusting to me.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's
annoying. Brad, I'm talking about the rest at the moment.
even to the point where Marcus Smart gets fouled, on the screen.
Stop it.
He goes to the free throw line to take the lead.
Or Tatum does a 180 spin, Joel straight up, and they call a shooting foul. Like, stop, man.
Yeah, no, I feel you. It's funny, but like you said, it's a good thing Doc Rivers was able to say something about it after the game.
I'm so happy that he did.
And you hope that that ultimately affects the rest of the series. Maybe you get some calls in your favor in game.
Hopefully
game
not
5.
in a negative way, right?
Yeah. I mean, it could be. Quite honestly, you never know. But hopefully, it works in reverse. But getting back to James Harden, man, because he was the man of the match or the man of the game. 42 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 16 for 23 from the field, 6 for 9 from the three-point line, 4 steals, only 1 turnover. I mean, it was a masterclass to say the least. And I think something that I can take away from this, and it's it's from a holistic perspective because you look at Harden throughout this series, and when you get games like this and then games like game one, you can ultimately survive a 7-game series against the Boston Celtics just with when you get game 2 and game 3,
which we
you
didn't
take
think was
those on the
possible.
chin. You take those on the chin, right? Because these type of performances come out and win you games. He has won us 2 games with his performances, his clutch acts in the big moments of the games, hitting game-winning shots. He's hit 2 game-winning threes in this series. And I think you take those game 2 and game 3 performances in the moment, they're very frustrating, they're infuriating. But when you look back on the first 4 games of this series, you take those on the chin because you got the performances you got in game 1 and game 4. He was amazing, man. The decisiveness, the confidence was back, right? It's crazy how he can come out of a game like game 3 where didn't play well, passed out of shots that he should have taken. And he comes out in this game and he gets right back to what he was doing in game 1. And
it's good
that's
luck
what I
charm,
like
man.
about it. I don't understand why it can't be done every game, getting in the lane, getting to the
Right.
mid-range.
Not 42, not 45. That's not what Scotty's saying, I don't believe.
That's getting your feel. That's building the chemistry and your rhythm in the game. You got to start from the inside out. And I think he was kind of doing that backwards in game 2 and game 3. So hopefully he can continue to get to his spots in the mid-range early. I think that gets him going. And then you see this type of James Harden throughout the game. Like you said, it doesn't have to be 40-plus points. Doesn't have to be 40-plus points if your teammates help you out, right? You look at Embiid and Harden, who basically scored like 80 points in this game. And it took every single one of them, right? So, shout out to Harden for carrying in this game, Harden and Embiid. Obviously, Embiid, just to move to him, he still had a pretty good game, man. 34 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists. The game-winning assist, as you mentioned earlier, 11 for 26 from the field, 2 turnovers. He played well. It was in the really fourth quarter, overtime. It felt like he got tired. That's what it looked like, coming off the injury. It looked like his conditioning, his wind was catching up to him. And he ultimately wasn't able to get up and get over Al Horford on a lot of those shots and those attempts. Super annoying, super frustrating in the moment once again to see Embiid he was playing small, right? He was kind of playing like a small center when in reality he's 7'2", 280 pounds. And you hate to see that, and you love to see PJ Tucker getting up in his grill and letting him have it. We've never seen that on this team.
No, PJ Tucker is so built for this moment. He's so built to lead this team. I mean, my God, man. Not to mention, bro, he didn't just do this in the middle of the game to hold Joe accountable. We've seen him do it with Paul Reed. We've seen him do it with Maxey before. Like, those are the younger guys. Those are the role players. He went up and grabbed the MVP of the league by the shirt. And in the midst of him hitting a game-tying N1 or an N1 to put it down 2, whatever it was at that moment.
This was before he took the free throw, right?
And then he goes up and knocks down the free throw and says, "Here you go, big fella," right? Listen, I want to start on Joel Embiid really quickly.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, he did the same thing in game 3, Casey. In game 3. That's the part that I don't love about
weird, man. And Paul Reed's not playing bad basketball. He's not playing bad basketball, so you can give him a break in the third. Excuse me, and get away with it. Early morning burps. Sorry, guys.
But PJ Tucker's built for this moment. He has been incredible, just leadership alone, right? Joel Embiid, let's call it what it is. Joel Embiid was great for 3 quarters. He was bad in the fourth quarter, like almost really bad. He was not assertive. He was not aggressive. They were not getting him involved. I was texting you, man. Like it was him. It was he and Harden back and forth, right? Yeah. And then Harden continued. Joel shrunk up a little bit. He allowed, whether that was fatigue, tiredness, Al Horford blocks him when he can't get over Al, which doesn't happen normally. He allowed that to get to him mentally, right?
Yeah.
The beautiful part is he came out in overtime. He hit a mid-range or 2. He was good in OT. And then he makes the correct play. He struggled mentally in the fourth. And what would you see out of Joel Embiid before if he was struggling offensively and trying to force things? When he gets that ball with Tatum lower on him, what's he trying to do? He's probably trying to go up a little acrobatic, a little crazy in the paint, draw contact, and now we're screaming, "Where's the whistle?" He makes the correct basketball play.
360 and got a foul, man.
I know.
That. Like, he just went like this and got a foul, and
he makes the correct basketball play, and James Harden rewards him for it. That's what we asked James Harden to do before Game 4 started, and he helped out the big fella. And I love this from Brett as well. Joel having 34, 13, and 4 shows the level that he reached when we're being on him and what we expect from him and what he himself expects from him. Because if you heard him in this post-game presser, he said that he stunk today and he needs to be better. I mean, listen, big fella, I think you weren't good for a quarter, for 5 minutes, whatever the case is. You were great today outside of that. So let's call that what it is. Jaylen Brown double teaming doesn't, like, again, I know it's Tatum on Embiid. You got to help from somewhere. I don't think Jaylen Brown leaving James Harden was the double team they should have thrown over at Joel. Thank you. Thank you. But anyway, let's get to the storyline of the game. And that's what you started with. And that is Uno, right? That's him. That's James Harden. Yeah. You mentioned Game 1 and Game 4, and I get it. 45 compared to 42. No. Game 4 was so much better and so much more incredibly larger than Game 1 was. Game 4 was the best game James Harden's ever played in a 76ers uniform. You could argue that it was one of his best playoff games of his entire career. Do you know why, Scotty? Because Game 1, who'd he do it next to? Right? We've questioned that a lot. Can you ever really get 40-point Harden next to Joel Embiid? And not only that, if you get that, is Joel Embiid still going to be effective offensively? Well, you mentioned, you hit it right on the head. They combined for basically 80. Okay, Game 1, no Joel, no real pressure, no expectations for them to actually win this game. He could play freely, and that's what he did. Game 4, 3 for 28 in Games 2 and 3. All the pressure in the world, all the eyeballs on him, all the spotlight in the world, next to the MVP, season on the line, legacy on the line. And he delivered in the biggest, clutchest way possible, man. You hit it big shot after big shot. That floater in the paint with 16 seconds left in regulation to tie the game was such a difficult shot over contact, over a larger body, and he just knocks it down and gets back. The fact, like, Joel made the right play, but James had to go get the ball, reset. That heel was so incredibly close to the back line. If he puts his foot flat on the ground, he's out of bounds. I don't know if that's awareness by him, shooting motion, whatever. That heel stays off, bang, knocks down ultimately the game winner. He was clutch. He was huge. He was the man in Game 1, Scotty. And that's what I love to see. And here's why. When Joel Embiid didn't have it going in the fourth quarter, and obviously, I texted you. I told you. Like, why are they going away from Joel when he's been this efficient all game? Yeah. And then he missed those 2 shots, right? And I looked at people that I was watching the game with, and I said, it has to go through Harden. And I've never said that before when it comes to Joel Embiid and a counterpart. I've never watched a game in which Joel Embiid has 30-plus points and had to say they have to go to the other guy because he's been that much more clutch in this moment, specifically today. They relied on James Harden, and James Harden came up big in the biggest moment, in the biggest game of the Sixers season. And it was exactly what you called it, a masterclass, my friend.
Yeah, he played perfect, as close to perfect as you can possibly play in an NBA playoff game. James Harden did that last night. He's had 2 of the best performances in the playoffs so far, right? You talk about the entire NBA. It was crazy. And on the defensive end, 4 steals. He was initiated. He was engaged. We need to get that kid, John. We need to get him out to every single Harden game.
Harden already invited him to Game 6.
I know. That's an incredible story as well. Just him bringing in.
That's another thing, man. Like to us, like, it's such a cool story.
It's a crazy moment.
Coming off of 3 for 28, this kid's your hero. You bring him out to this game. Think about all that expectation.
Yeah.
And to deliver for this kid, essentially. Because he said it after the game. He said, Harden literally said, I kept thinking about him in the game. And to come up big like that in that situation after that tragedy for this kid, that's unbelievable that he was able to do that.
Yeah, if that's what it takes to get this out of Harden, then bring him.
It's his good luck charm, man.
Bring him to every single game. But yeah, man, this was a masterclass by Harden. He was engaged all over the court. You can't ask for much more. And I think another positive / negative, you can take it probably two ways. Maxey and Tobias once again just really didn't show up in this one. Maxey didn't shoot the ball very well. Tobias looked lost at times, right? You look at that and you have to ask yourself, there's got to be one of these games where Maxey gets hot, right? Like Maxey or Tobias can go 3 for 4 from the 3-point line. Like there's got to be one of these games where these guys can hit some shots for us, because it's not happening right now. You look at even D-Melt in this game. I texted you. I'm just like, man, we just can't get them on the same page at the same time. D-Melt comes out from the beginning. Harden's telling D-Melt to cut to the rim, right? It was
so
borderline fast break. D-Melt says, no, I'm staying at the 3-point line, and he airballs the 3-pointer. Yeah. Like, this is the stuff I'm talking about. We need to get these guys on the same page at the same time, because while Harden and Embiid, they had these masterclass performances, these great performances, the rest of the team was nowhere to be found. George Niang, I'll give George Niang, PJ Tucker. Those are the other two guys that I would give some credit to. And George Niang did what he was there for. He hit 3 threes in this game.
Except Doc left him in a little too long after that.
He did leave him in a little too long. That's not George's fault, though. That's not.
No, I agree with you,
They cut the rotation down. They cut.
I was going to bring that up to you as well. They basically played with 7 guys. Yeah. I mean, they ran 8 on the floor, but Paul Reed played 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Give him a little bit more time. Yeah. To give Embiid a little
especially like what KC said. You have Joel winded in the 4th because you just played him the whole 3rd.
Exactly. You got to give Paul Reed a little bit of a leash there. He's played really well in the playoffs. So
yeah. Well, how about when D-Melt missed? Yeah, when he missed a layup, bro.
Yeah, you get the good steal off. I think it was Jaylen Brown that turned it over.
Missed a wide open layup.
And you miss a layup, man. Somebody said it.
I will say this:
you got to lock him in a gym this summer, and you just do layups with contact, because he has been terrible finishing at the rim.
It's him, it's Tobias, it's Maxey, even more so than both of them. If they would just slow down and gather at the rim. These dudes go 110 miles per hour at the freaking basket. Tyrese Maxey. Okay. I love the kid. He's 22 years old. We mentioned it. Like, Harden and Embiid have to step up, because you cannot put the weight of needing Tyrese Maxey to be the first or second option to lead you past a world-class team like the Boston Celtics right now. We asked him to be a third option yesterday, and he was a disaster, Scotty. And he is obviously a disaster on the defensive end specifically. So when things are going raw offensively, it makes him on the floor look 1,000 times worse when he gets beat and lost on the defensive side of things. I don't even know like what to pick out with the kid. It's pure shot making. It's pure calming down and getting the look you want in the manner that you want. He hit a couple what he hit 2 threes, and one of them was actually very timely in the 4th. He started the game with a 3 early on in the first quarter. Like, let's see here. He went 2 for 6 from 3. So the 3-point line wasn't horrible, but 6 for 17, Scotty. 6 for 17 isn't going to cut it when a majority of these looks were in the painted area or just outside of the painted area or at the rim. And my God, how many times do you and I have to go back and forth about this kid beating his primary defender to the rim and then just going up weak as baby shit, soft as baby shit, and not finishing because it's getting thrown 1,000 miles per hour off the backboard. And then 2 of the times he stands there and looks at the ref and doesn't get back on defense. He is do you remember we watched game 3 together and we looked at each other when Harden was performing that way and we said, dude, he's almost unplayable. Tyrese Maxey reached that level for me late in the game in this one. Like, just he's not going to give you anything defensively. And when he's shooting and playing this poorly on the offensive side, he's almost unplayable. I know we're not going to go away from him. I don't want to go away from him. It's infuriating to watch. Tobias Harris has been so bad as well. He's shot 30% from the floor. But it's almost like, I don't know, you have higher expectations for the 22-year-old than you do Tobias at this point. Even though Tobias Harris was the most consistent player in round one, you always say to me there's levels to it, and he is not leveled up against the Boston Celtics so far. Well, I see what you and the commenters are saying, man. Like, it's awesome to see what Harden's doing. It's awesome to see what Embiid's doing. The Sixers can clearly compete with them, even with having off nights from guys. But are they really going to win 2 more games with the others playing this poorly? That's the question. Others are doing exactly what we brought up James Harden doing. Not just not noticing them, not just not stepping up, being a negative, hurting your team. That's what Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris are doing right now. They're hurting the Sixers when they're on the floor. They're not just non-existent. They're playing so poorly, it's a net negative for them right now.
Yeah, I agree with you to an extent. I don't think Maxey played that bad. Like, I don't think he played
Scotty, I thought he was
Harden in game 3. I wouldn't
well,
go
no, I mean the shooting percentage wasn't that bad.
I do agree. He's just got to be more decisive, man. It's the shots that he's taking. I think Philly Irish said it. The shots are just like forced. They just look so unnatural at times. Yeah. And he's got to stop doing that. He's got to find his shots better. I don't know how he can do that. The main thing that I'm looking at here, Dylan, from Maxey in this game, you can 6 for 17. If your shot's not falling, it's not falling. You can say that. You got to get to the free throw line, and that's by going up strong at the rim, like you said. He's got to start trying to turn these layups over. You see everybody else. I see Jamal Murray last night. He goes down, he flushes it, reverse dunk. He's coming off a torn ACL. These guys got to be more aggressive in finishing. You see Jaylen Brown, he tries to finish over guys. Yeah. I will say the one thing, it's with Maxey. Harden did it in game 2 and game 3 a lot. He didn't do it in this game as much. But understanding the matchups, when you blow by Robert Williams, you're not going to beat him to the backboard, right? Like, you have to go up and try to finish hard. Yeah, that's where we're at, right? Is basketball IQ is just not there. He looks clueless at times. And so does Tobias Harris. The basketball IQ, not there, looking clueless. There's times where Tobias, in this game specifically, he just has like tunnel vision. Mm-hmm. It's like Embiid's calling for the ball. There's a guy open in the corner, and Tobias Harris is going up, falling down, and having a pass out of the jump, right? Like, what was the one? He got lucky on the one call with Jaylen Brown, where he's on the fast break, and it's like,
yeah. And he goes like sideways. He turns the ball in his body,
trips and falls.
Yeah,
and he passes out to somebody.
Off his own foot in this one, out of bounds, Scotty. Like when the Celtics were in the middle of a run, we need a bucket.
These guys have been
drives
so bad
and dribbles off his own leg. Like,
these guys have been so bad, man. And to get 2 W's with this kind of happening. Mind you, Tyrese Maxey played better in game 1, but haven't seen him since.
See, that's where, like, that. I think that's where we're kind of meeting in the middle ground when it comes to Maxey. I don't want to over-examine the game 3, the 6 for 17 alone. It's the fact that I thought he was bad. He shot 6 or 17 in this one, and I haven't seen him since game 1.
Yeah,
and we know his regular season struggles versus Boston. It's like, how many bad shooting nights is allowed before it costs the Sixers games and a series, right?
Yeah.
Because it's tough, man. And it just makes you think, right? Like, Joel and James can't take all the shots, but it hurts to see a guy like Tyrese Maxey, who's such a weapon offensively, and Tobias Harris sometimes shoot so poorly, because it's like every miss, every bad decision, every bad shot makes you like, that could have been a shot for Joel. Yeah. Or that could have been a shot for James, who's heating up. And it's 11 missed shots for Maxey, 7 missed shots for Tobias, like 18 possessions where it could have maybe gone elsewhere. I get that's not how it works.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You think, like, damn, man, like, they don't have it. It could have been opportunities for the other guys.
What's crazy?
So.
You know what's crazy about this game? As I'm looking at I'm just looking at some of the stats here, but Tobias Harris was actually a team high plus 14 in this game.
That's
Nobody
wild.
else was even close. It's actually crazy. I think the next closest person
Wow.
was Paul
Yeah.
Reed and PJ Tucker at +1.
Yeah.
That's so weird, right?
Joel
Because
Embiid and
I
Maxey were
swear
even.
Tobias looked lost out there. I hope I'm not tripping, but he looked lost at times out there. So I don't know. He's played well in the defensive end, aside from losing his man here and there. I want to look at something here though, but Malcolm Brogdon, dude, like what the hell? 5 for 8 from the 3-point line. This dude is hitting like 4 or 5 threes a game in this series.
This is a great point as well, but yeah. No, I agree. And you know, it's infuriating to watch and play against a guy like Brogdon. He's so good, and he's the sixth man of the year for a reason. He's so boring and plain, and there's nothing there. There's no athleticism that jumps off the page at you, off the screen to you. There's no speed. The shots just kind of awkward looking.
He just happens to be wide open.
It's this as well. He's just calm. Like
he is.
Why don't I have that calm presence on the floor, like in a role player for me? You know what I mean? Like even Niang, when Niang hits a big three, like it's sporadic and it's like and then there's a little shit talking. It's like Brogdon's just bang, bang, up 5, bang. It's like, oh my God, man. But I agree with you. One point I wanted to throw out at you as well.
Yeah.
Just because I have to. I'm going to try, and I'm really trying not to curse on the show. I would love to meet Al Horford in person. Just love it. Who the fuck do you think you are, bro? The first dunk of his entire season, and he wants to shimmy at the fans. You stupid.
Oh my God. I thought the season was over. I thought the season was over, Dylan. You give that up.
Man.
He's like owning Embiid in this moment, right? Like that's after he gets some stuffs on Embiid on jump shots. Embiid's trying to fade away, getting stuffed by Al Horford.
You know what, Al?
Al keep shooting one down for the lead. First lead of the game.
Keep shooting the three, Al. Keep shooting it, brother. Because I'll let you do it. I don't care if you hit 5. I don't care if you hit 5 in game 3. I'll let you shoot all series long. Because you know what that means? Remember how I just said when Maxey's off and Harris are off, it's when they miss, it's like, oh, that could have been opportunities for others. When Al Horford shoots, it's a sigh of relief because it's not Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown or Malcolm Brogdon. Yes, it's incredibly frustrating when he makes 4 or 5 threes in a game. It's so annoying, man.
And his sister makes it 10 times worse, right? Like it's just it's
family. My God. Someone quote tweeted her, so it's the only reason I saw it because I don't even pay attention to it. She said it took all that and they still one by one LMAO. And I just wanted to quote tweet back with a picture of the Tatum push off and the Joel Embiid charge and be like, bro, they tried to hand you the game. Like Boston got put in the bonus with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They tried to hand feed you this road win to take control of the series. And that wasn't enough. Oh my. And it's just, bro, if Jaylen Brown flushes and shimmies or Tatum flushes and shimmies, whatever, like Steph does it all, like whatever. You're a great player. You're the leader of this team. This bald-headed bum. Oh, it's so frustrating, man.
I'm glad I could laugh about it afterwards because it would have been so painful if we lose that game. Like, just off of that, man.
Hold that, Al.
And I mean, honestly, Dylan, I don't know. Like, I guess you are allowed to do that, like shimmy after the dunk.
Well, it's funny because like he did direct it towards the fans, and it's a big moment, so they're giving him some leeway. But it's like, you know, like if he stares at a player, that's taunting, right? Right. So,
Yeah,
Oh
Dr.
my
J, that's an
god.
iconic
Yeah, go
photo.
ahead. Let me see some emotion, Malcolm. Hell, I'm playing against you. Let me see
Bro,
something.
go ahead and give us a shimmy,
Yeah,
dog.
Chili said the same thing. Tee his ass up, man. Because he should never be
Man.
allowed to shimmy again.
I think to D-Rab's point, man, about Dr. J, that whole
And I
picture, I
forget
think
which
that
one.
was what bucket was that? Somebody hit was it Harden?
Which one?
Or was it PJ? Maybe it was PJ's game tie and bucket. I'm not sure. Where they show Dr. J up in the
Oh,
booth,
it was
and
PJ's. It was PJ's and
he's
one.
just looking
It was
up to
to
the
put us down
basketball guys,
2,
man.
but it was to put us down by 2 after he made the free throw. But it was directly after Brogdon hit the 3 to go up 5, and that's the point in the game which you just I think. I mean, let us know in the comments that did everybody think it was over then? Because like that's when I thought it was over, and then this team said, "Yo, didn't you say we're different all year? Have a little bit of goddamn faith, Dylan," and then proved me and everybody else wrong again in the final 2 minutes and in overtime. But oh man, I think I had like a small aneurysm in this one. Like my heart can't take that, dude.
I'm curious why you're saying that, Chile. Inform me. Why is he a fraud?
He said
I looked at that. I
he
thought that was
said
one of
that's
the
just Julius to me.
that's one of the more iconic pictures that I've seen. It just kind of exemplified what took place in this game, the masterclass of Harden.
Yeah.
One of the best Sixers games that we've ever seen in recent history.
So we got back-to-back comments about this, man. So we'll hit on it. We talked about it probably in the very beginning of the show, but we'll hit on it again. Like this right here. Like James Harden, the game tying bucket at the end of regulation, James Harden, the game winning 3, everything. Like those are the plays we look at. This play right here on your screen, not even this play, this moment in this game is what saved the Sixers season. It single-handedly saved the Sixers season. Not only was it a 3-point play for PJ Tucker to get the Sixers back down by 2 and back down to 1 possession late in crunch time. Again, I think it's incredible that PJ has the balls to grab the MVP because he's that much of a leader and a friend and a veteran to Joel and everybody else on this team.
Yeah.
And say, yo, big fella, right now, this is it. Right now, we need you to wake up. And he said after the game, he said 2 possessions in a row, and both were Al Horford, whatever. 2 possessions in a row, Joel Embiid wasn't aggressive, and he wasn't assertive, and he was in his head mentally. And when he's aggressive, there's not a single person in this game that can guard him one-on-one, and you needed him. So PJ Tucker finishes at the rim through contact, gets an N1, crowd's going nuts, and has the wherewithal to wait for his free throw and get in the face and in the ear of the MVP of the entire association and snap him out of whatever little funk he was in late in this game. It saved the Sixers season.
Yeah, you needed it. You needed every ounce of it, man. And that just once again speaks to what PJ brings to this. I know there's people talking on I saw on Twitter there was converse about, not every other team needs something like this. Like Celtics didn't need anybody to get in another person's face. Doesn't matter. It's what the Sixers needed. They haven't been here before. They haven't been in this before, in this type of heat, right? Competing like this. So
timeout. Marcus Smart had to publicly in a huddle last year before Boston ended up going on their finals run, had this whole team implosion towards Brown and Tatum because there was all the polling back and forth. Or should they split them up at the deadline? Should they split them up? Mark Smart had to call these guys out publicly and had to be that leader, right? That tough guy. So teams do need it. I do think it's interesting where like we've craved it so badly over the last couple of seasons
that we oversensitize it.
Yeah, it was like a hole like in the middle of this team and and they filled it with PJ. But
and to that point, I think that's what it's getting. It's like it's not that this moment isn't needed. Right. It's just that it's being over sensationalized by Philadelphia as like this moment, and it is. It's the moment where the game
because we've never had it before. And I love this comment from Philly Eagles fan.
Yeah.
This dude with chasing, already has a ring. Or does he ever?
He has a ring.
He has one with Milwaukee, right, and went with Miami last year. Yeah. He didn't come here to be a second round out, bro. Next to the MVP, he just didn't do it. So I am excited. Didn't he do the same thing with Harden? Did he get in this game? I forget. He might
Oh
have.
no, I don't know. I don't know about this
I don't
one. I
know.
don't think he needed to do that for Harden in
No,
this
but
game.
in the past,
I'm
probably.
sure. Yeah, they're really close. So I'm sure
I
he's
see he
Harden.
screened to Paul Reed. I've seen him get on Maxey.
Yeah,
He is the most valuable non-scoring piece in the NBA. A couple of games ago, I'm sure he did, man. I'd have to find the clip, but D-Rap, I'm sure he did. Scotty, did we catch the Suns Nuggets game, man? I
I
was,
believe.
I,
Yeah.
I think I was all basketballed out after that heart attack. So I chilled for the rest of the night. But I did see Scotty text me, and then I saw the clip with Jokic and the owner.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know how to feel about it. It's just it's funny, man. If you want to touch on it, but it's
Bias.
like
Yeah. I can't like look at it without being like biased.
right.
So
And
I don't know.
Jokic made an interesting point, right? He said, you know, the fan, first of all, it's the owner. Not
Yeah.
that Jokic knows that as he's standing dressed casually in the middle of the crowd, but it's the owner, right? Puts his hands on him first, and he says, "I thought the league was supposed to protect us." However, you were in the stands, weren't you? Like what he
Right.
was borderline in the crowd. So like a fan didn't come on the floor or on the edge of the floor and put his
That was
hands on
my
you.
thing.
You
Yeah.
were into the crowd in this little scuffle. And so what if a guy just went like this? Did he grab you? Did he shove you? Or did the owner of the Suns try to calm the situation down? Now, again, the owner of the Suns, WWE flopped it, but Jokic also threw an elbow into the dude's mug.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough situation because it's like, yes, the fans shouldn't touch the players, but he also didn't have to go up into
That's
the
what I'm saying.
crowd and snatch the ball out of the owner's hands. Would you do that to the ref, right? Like, would you go and snatch the ball out of the ref's hands? I get you want to keep the pace going and keep everything moving,
Yeah.
but just something you can't do. I'm interested to see how the league will address it. They probably nothing of it, maybe a fine or
Oh,
something.
nothing.
But yeah, I mean, Jokic did have a hell of a game last night. I did see the finish that they're talking about. Kind of crumbled at the end, but 53 points, 11 assists last night, 20 for 30 from the field. I
Yeah.
mean, you start to look at Jokic in a sense, and you have like now that Embiid has got his MVP, and it's not the Jokic fans. I hate the Jokic stands on Twitter. That whole community is just so annoying, but you start to really look at Jokic's game and you're like, man, okay, like this dude can hoop.
Oh, he's
Uh,
great.
but it's funny, you know, Shaq. I think Shaq does this stuff for like attention.
Yeah.
He does
Oh,
it
yeah.
for, you know, I don't know if he's maybe trying to motivate Joel even, but you know, calling Jokic the best center in the league at this point. Like, why right now do we have to say that? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, Embiid just won the MVP. You didn't do that for Embiid whenever Jokic won the MVP, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I get what he was saying. Ultimately, he's saying that Jokic is more of a big man. He goes in the paint. He goes and posts up more. But still, it's just unnecessary to like kind of throw that shade last night after they get a big win in Game 4 against
Yeah.
Boston. But
And while Denver lost, and that's
and
not
Denver
on,
lost. Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
not
So
on
yeah.
Jokic's. That's not Jokic's
Great,
fault for dropping 50
great game,
plus and
Jokic,
losing.
but
But
an L
yeah,
nonetheless.
sorry.
Devin Booker, he's nasty too, man.
Yeah,
That
man.
series is wild when it comes
Scotty,
to like.
I'm going to bring this kind of back into Sixers land.
Yeah,
They're the one team. If the Sixers just get there, I'm going to be the happiest person in the world. But again, I don't know if we could take as a society 4 lost championships in a calendar year. So I don't know if we can handle that. But to get there, like Phoenix is the one team I'm not sure that I want to see out of the West. I'm just not sure. But like you're talking about borderline the greatest offensive player on planet Earth in Kevin Durant if he's healthy. You have Devin Booker, who has 3 straight 30-plus point games and constantly gives the Sixers fits. I can go back and look, but he gives the Sixers problems, right? And they just have role players that will annoy us. Landry Shamet will come back from the trade demons and knock down 4 threes, 5 threes off the bench against us. They're going to have guys, like D-Book, he'll average 40 against us. KD is KD. It would be a hell of a matchup. And I'm not picking against the Sixers if they get there.
I
I'm
think
just
we have
saying,
a better bench than them. I think we're way deeper than they are.
Sure.
And I think that's saying a lot because we've obviously been very inconsistent against the Celtics. But like KD is playing, 45 plus minutes. Devin Booker, 45. Agree. And they're having to go for 35. I mean, it's the same thing Joel and Harden are doing right now, too, I guess. But I feel anytime you're talking about Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, they're like assassins when it comes to scoring.
It's more of a matchup thing for me. Like
the Lakers, I think, are the Lakers are a crazy matchup to me because you have AD versus Embiid, and I think that matchup is just that would be interesting because they're a deep team too. They're very good defensively. There's a couple teams out west that would be interesting. The Denver Nuggets, they play high pace. You would have to play in Denver in that higher altitude.
Joel's never played in the altitude.
Right. So that would be a little different. There's some teams out there, but yeah. I like what Philly Irish said, to maybe bring this game to a point and moving forward into this 3-game series that we have ahead of us. I think Philly Irish, Drew said it earlier, the team that wins this series, they might just go ahead and win the NBA championship because we may be looking at the 2 best teams in the NBA going head-to-head right now in the Eastern Conference. Boston Celtics, I would say, are absolutely in that conversation. Yeah. During that comeback yesterday, mind you, this team is so annoying to play. The reason they're so annoying to play is because they're so good. They just hit shot after shot. Like, they just wouldn't stop hitting shots. Yeah. We were up 9-10 points, and I'm just sitting there. I'm texting you. I'm
not
just like,
comfortable.
Not comfortable, man. They could hit 3 threes and be right back in your grill. And they sure enough did it. They came back, took the lead. They're a team that, while they do seem to choke in these big moments, they do know how to fight and stay in games and ultimately pull away if they need to in moments as well. They're a great team, to say the least. We're probably playing the best team in the NBA right now in a 7-game series, and we're 2-2 right now. I would just say, I hope Harden has one more of these left in him for this series. Because I think that could be a difference in winning us the series. And I would also say, can we get one game of Maxey hitting 4 or 5 threes or Tobias hitting 3 threes or both of them, right? Hitting 3 threes each. Something. Yeah. Can we get something in these last 3 games from the rest?
And before we wrap this up, because guys, we will be back live tomorrow night. Can you get one game? Can I get it in Game 5? Can I please, for the love of God, get it?
Can we get that?
5?
Please. It's going to be really hard.
Please.
It's going to be really hard.
Because
can we get that?
Me a Game 6 in South Philadelphia up 3-2.
Yeah.
Please.
Otherwise, we're going to be dying if we come back to Game 6 and actually win and then go to a Game 7. We're going to be freaking
right. Then can I please get it in Game 7? But you feel my point. To me, Scotty, it has to be the road. It has to be one of the road games, and it starts tomorrow night.
I agree.
Right, guys. With that said, that is going to wrap up this Monday edition of the Phaithful Fanatics Show. We'll be back with you live Wednesday and Friday at 8 a.m. here on the Twitter and YouTube channel. There's issues going on with Facebook, so no idea what's going on with StreamYard and Facebook. But if you guys want to be interactive or catch any of our pregame shows, make sure to subscribe. Not only is it the best spot to get interactive, but it gives you a chance to be entered for a jersey of your choice. All round 2 Sixers Celtics pregame shows. Hit that subscribe button on the DSM Media YouTube channel. Tune into any pregame live this week, including tomorrow nights, and comment your score prediction for your name to be entered for a chance to win the jersey of your choice. Also, DSM Media and the Phaithful Fanatics Show are proudly brought to you by our friends over at Manscaped. Make sure to use promo code DSM at checkout for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Again, that is promo code DSM, all capital letters, for 20% off your total order and free shipping over at manscaped.com. Your balls will certainly thank you. For myself, for Scotty, enjoy the rest of your Monday, and we will see you guys tomorrow night on DSM Pregame Live. Peace.
Go Sixers.